What's up, guys? It's Brian again from Lake Kicker Scuba and Marine. If you're new to our channel, do me a huge favor, hit this little subscribe button right here and ding that little bell as well. That way you guys are going to be notified every time we upload new content. Now look right here on the wall. Tank after tank after tank after tank, and I can just go on and on and on and on. There's a ton of tanks here, and this ain't all of them. Let me walk back here and show you a whole list of other tanks here. So we've got, back here in our workroom, we've got a very beautiful site. It's my wife, Heather. Say, hey, Heather.
Hey, Heather.
So she is servicing all these tanks here. She's going to be visiting all those tanks as well. But we're still not done. Let's walk downstairs really quick. Let's walk down here. Let's get the lights turned on. You guys been down here with us. This is our tank room. We got all these tanks to service. We have all these tanks to service. We have all these tanks to service. We got just a couple of these to service. Why are we doing that? Well, it's that time of the year for us. It is the time for us to actually get all of our tanks serviced before the diving season kicks off. Before the spring season gets here, we go through all of our tanks once a year. We visit them. Any of them that need to be pulled out and get sent off the hydro, that's what we do. Now, you'll notice here in the store that the lights are turned off. We don't have any customers here right now. That's because we are either here before the store opens or after the store closes. Today it's morning time, so we're here before the store opens to try to get this done before our customers come in a mad rush. But a lot of these tanks up front, those tanks are not ours. Those are customer tanks that came in yesterday, and we knocked all those out yesterday. We've probably got about 25 or 30 that we're gonna try to get done today, just between me and Heather, before the store ever opens. So we got about another 2 hours to get through these tanks. Visiting tanks don't take really a long time, especially when you create an assembly line. You got 2 or 3 people doing it, but getting them filled up, running the compressor, going through the bank tanks, things like that does take a while. So we're gonna try to get all these done before we open up today, just so that we're not getting bombarded. And in today's video, I kind of want to explain why you as a diver should think in advance. When is it going to be time to service your gear? Because you don't want to wait till the last minute to get it done. What you doing, Heather?
Scraping the stickers off of the tanks.
So you're taking the Viz stickers off. What about all these other stickers that's on the tanks? They have to come off too, right?
Yes.
Man, it's going to be a lot of scraping on these tanks. Thankfully, none of ours downstairs have those stickers, do they?
Nope.
Good. So as Heather gets through these tanks, let's talk a little bit about when you should actually get your gear serviced. Should it be at the end of the season? Should it be before the season starts? Should it be mid-season? Well, there's really 2 answers I'm going to give you here. You need to service your gear when it's time to service your gear. In short, let's talk about your cylinders really quick. If it's that time of the year to get a visual inspection, take it in. Get a visual inspection. Most shops can do it within a day or 2. Usually it takes about a week, though, depending on how busy they are. But take it in when it needs to get done. Same thing on a hydro. Take it in when it's ready for a hydro. I usually like to go a month in advance. That way it gives them plenty of time to get it taken care of and get it back. If you have multiple cylinders, let's say you've got these 5 cylinders right here, and they all need to be done. Well, if you're not going to be using all 5 of them at once, meaning you're not diving literally every day, just take 2 or 3, get those done, keep the other 2 so you can dive, and then swap them out once they get them back. So you can kind of space them out to where you're not being left alone with cylinders that are unusable. Now, as far as your regulators and things, it's kind of the same thing. I prefer to do mine at the end of the season. So if my regulators need service, I'm going to service them, but I like to do it at the end of the season. That way, if I'm not diving, now obviously I dive year round, but if I'm not diving throughout the wintertime, they are ready to go in the springtime. I don't want to wait until springtime, get ready to go diving and be like, oh, I got to take my regulator in to get it serviced. If you're not a cold water diver, take it in at the end of the season. That way, if the shop needs to order parts, maybe they don't have parts in stock, you're not going to be using that anyway, so this gives them time to order parts and things like that. So I personally prefer to do it at the end of the season, but really the truthful answer here is get it serviced when it's time to get it serviced. Now, let's talk a little bit about a full overhaul service versus just, say, an inspection of, say, your dive system. Now, I don't necessarily mean inspection of a cylinder, but primarily your regulator. Most manufacturers are going to give you two recommendations. One's going to be a complete overhaul. That's a complete rebuild. That's where we completely disassemble your regulator part by part. We put all new parts in it and then put it back together and we test it. Most manufacturers are also going to have a service time where it just gets broke down and looked at, clean, things like that. If you do a ton of saltwater diving, it's going to be a little bit quicker than a lot of freshwater diving. So what I would recommend is at least once a year, tear your equipment apart and look at it. If you want a good class that's going to teach you how to do that, check out the SSI Equipment Techniques course, because it's going to teach you the proper ways to take hoses off, change a couple of O-rings, to test the system, things of that sort. What it's not going to teach you is actually how to go in and rebuild and to adjust the regulator itself. But it will give you the tools of the trade to safely disassemble your equipment and put it back together within reason, and that way you're going to know that it's going to be working. Now, if you don't want to take that class or you don't want the hassle of doing that, take it to your local service technician at least once a year. Let's say once a year or once every 100 dives, and just let him look at it. Most shops might only charge you $20 to do that. Some won't even charge you nothing. When a customer brings me a reg, I'll look at it, I'll test it, I'll check the intermediate, and I don't charge a dime for that. If I have to tear it apart and change some things, then there's going to be a service fee. But, once a year, take it in, get it looked at. If it needs to be clean, it simply just needs to be clean. It's something that's life safety equipment, so we might as well take good care of it, because if we take good care of it, it's going to take good care of us. And then about once every 2 years, based off the manufacturer's recommendation, that's when you're actually going to get it overhauled. So 1 year, 100 dives, get it looked at, get it cleaned. 2 years, 200 dives, that's when you should get it serviced. Now, once again, this is manufacturer specific. I am simply quoting what Mares says, because Mares is our biggest brand that we sell. But check with your local dive center, see what that manufacturer of the gear they sell, see what they recommend, and that's what you're going to do with your equipment. All right, guys, so there you go. Make sure you're getting your gear serviced when it needs to be serviced, whether it's on a regular interval or even if you tear up your gear. If you've ever been on a dive trip, you've had something break on a regulator or something of that sort, as soon as you get back from that dive trip, get it serviced right then and there. Don't wait until the next season. One of the worst feelings in the world is when your buddy calls you up and says, hey, let's go diving. You grab all your gear up and then you realize it's not serviced or it's not safe to use. So get it serviced as soon as something tears up or when it's on that regular interval. Check with your local dive center and what the manufacturer of the gear they sell, see what their recommendations are. As I stated earlier, once a year, good solid cleaning, and once every 2 years is a good overhaul there. Some manufacturers require a little bit quicker than that, but that's typically what we do on all Mares gear. And as far as cylinders go, yes, it's fixing to be springtime, and we're just going through, we got 70 tanks in our fleet here, but that just happens to be the cycle they're on. We've got several service technicians here, so 70 tanks only takes us about 2 or 3 days to get through, on top of doing all these customer cylinders as well, which we do probably 10 to 20 cylinders a day. We really rock through cylinders. But don't be afraid to bring it in just because your shop's busy. The quicker you can get it in, the quicker you can get it out. Even my wife, she loves tearing off stickers on their tanks. Kind of like her favorite thing to do here. So if you need your tank cylinder or your tank or your cylinder service, bring it on into us. We'll get it taken care of. But guys, let me know down in the comment section below how often you service your gear. Do you do it on a yearly basis? Do you do it based off how many dives you've done on it? Or, what does the manufacturer of the gear you use recommend you doing? But let me know down in the comment section below. But that's going to do it for today. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, drop it down below and we'll discuss it. Till our next video, take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.